S11R3 at Dover for season 11. We also want to say thank you to the title sponsor of the WSSR Cup Series for season 11. That's VRS.
I did not hear when stage was.
School. As well, we want to say thank you to GTR Simulators, Trophy Smack, Sim,
Yes,
Precision, Prince,
SOFE.
and lastly, we also want to say thank you to our camera providers to help us here at Freaking Fast Broadcasting with Whiplash SimCam, who also is our sponsor for the biggest mover of the race. Here's your racing
Dover.
info as it is
And
just a mile.
I don't know how it happened, but somehow I got the pole. So
Total, but it is expecting this track to get very warm as we move on. The track is down to 121.
as far as tire savings goes, I'm not good at this track.
How that changes throughout tonight's race. Has taken the top spot here tonight, getting his first pole of season 11. It's the number 8 of Brian McCann. To his outside, going to be sent to the back. It's going to be the one machine of John Forbes Jr. As back in third place in row number 2, we find ourselves with Gavin Rogers. In the 3-time champ, it's the 67 of Larry Yingling. Yeah, Larry's teammate of Ryan Kelly will be starting in 5th position, with Tanner Bethel going to be starting in 6th. Now, Tanner will also have a EOL, so he'll start at the end of the line in a drive-through penalty, so it's going to be a long evening for the 78. Ollie Fonseca will be up into 7th, with Nick Crawford 8th. 9th, we find ourselves with Brian P. Johnson, and finishing out the top 10, it's Vincent Sora in the 51.
Garrett Talmadge will be starting in the 11th position, and Drew Jew in the 77 for Lucky Duck.
Well, you missed the pole qualifying run. What you're going to witness now is me go to mid-pack.
In the 14th position. Nick Renner showing up for the first time this season today at Dover.
These guys in this league, they know how to save tires better than I do.
Starting 16th on the outside. Brian Noel starting 17th in the 00, and Ross Tatum in the 21 will be starting back in the 18th position. Chris Stitz in 19th, and Ryan Bird rounding up the top 20 in the 49.
In 21st position, we find the 71 of Nico Garcia. Roberts pick, find the 13 of Cedric Hunter, going to be deep.
For real, these guys are good.
Position.
It's tough in here.
Cody
all right, man, we're going green next time.
24th,
all right, man, line up on the inside row.
All right, John. It's the 38 of Christopher Norris, who also will have an EOL to start this race off. In 25th position in the 40, it's Pete Sart with Ken Campbell starting pretty deep in the field.
Been practicing that ARCA car, any?
We're not going green this time. We're not going green. All right, man. Like it back on the pace car. We're not going green this time. We are not going green.
Canada in 28th, 29th is just Malarkey. Bunatzi Major in 30th. And then the rest of the field, you got Richard, as we will be given an extra lap to finish out the results here.
Hey, I heard that Drew wants the EOL, by the way.
31st in the number 7, and Martin G. Morales, who's
I heard you want my pick in your
Brad
mouth.
Delphin 33rd, and
I ain't even bought it yet.
How did you know?
34th. Tyler Dean.
I do need to test it. It's going to be some strong competition in IROC
36
next season.
37th, we'll be seeing
drag your ass
Joshua
through
Corner
fucking
in the
tennis
number 2, GT Irizarry to the outside of him, 38th. Zach Hall in the 39th position. Colin Carroll qualified 40th, but will be starting from the pits, it looks like. And Andrew Medlin.
I feel like I should have gone with the.
You guys know if there's any tire spin?
He's not supposed to be up there. I clicked the wrong button when joining the server.
Hey, you never know. Maybe we need an example of when everyone's in the pits on
All
how
right,
to take
man,
a
we're
lap.
going green next time.
We've got ourselves 41 drivers registered for tonight's race.
Yeah, I just tried it. It almost let go.
Registered in, but he's up in the booth with me, hopefully enjoying the show for 180 laps here tonight as drivers get prepared to go green here this evening. Stage break at the end of lap 45.
Oh, no.
If you're just joining us. In this race, these first 45 laps, so critical. You want to stay out of trouble, but so much knowledge can be built.
I got my teammates in the other channel. You can't hear them.
Compared to tires, fuel, a lot of knowledge and numbers you're looking for. Drivers are going to be sent to the back again. Tanner Betha, as well as going to be seeing John Forbes Jr., Thomas Green, and
That's good to hear.
It's going to be those drivers that are sent to the back to start out.
Good to hear the ARCA car is good. I've heard bad stuff and good stuff about it, so
keep ourselves in
hadn't really been
where we're looking at.
I'm sure what to think.
Like
closer to the end of this stage.
ready.
But Brian McCann, good to see the 8 machine up front. He's going to be having Larry Yingling to his outside.
All right, man.
Nick Crawford now slots for that whole outside row. Going to move forward as one. Based on how, if you're Larry Yingling starting now on that outside row, where is the aggression? Are you wanting to tackle for the lead? Do you just sit there and wait for one outside to fall away? Pace car is ready. We're into the restart zone, and race 3 is underway here at Dover. It's Brian McCann, Larry Yingling roaring down into turn number 1. Exit turn 2 is going to be critical as this track narrows up, but everyone looking solid through the center of the corner. Here we go up the exit. It's Larry Yingling looking good with the nose ahead.
Larry Yingling's got that outside lane. He's going to have the momentum and the speed coming off the turn. Even though Brian McCann's got the shortest way around the track, that outside gets some major momentum as they're side by side crossing the line. It looks like Larry Yingling will lead lap 1 as they dive into turn 1 for the second time tonight.
There's going to be a lot of different mentalities that we have here this evening. Let's get up front, make a lot of big moves early on, and then save your...
All about wiggled out of it.
Save my tires, attack in the final 20 to 15 laps of a run. The top 2, they know how critical having the lead is. That clean air enables you to really save your tires a lot more cleaner than those that are stuck in traffic in the dirty air, and how that tightens up this car. As Brian McCann puts down the fastest lap, Larry Yingling still holds strong on the outside. Everyone else in the middle of the field trying to get at least single filed as quickly as they can. But the leaders, they have all the fight, and you got to be careful because that 3 machine is about to be hunting. If you stay side by side for too long, they finally get in line.
24.172.
Some great speed to start this race off, pole to pole, and is able to get dominantly in front now for Larry Yingling. We've seen some great speed over the past season or two from Brian McCann. He's really shown it tonight, being able to pull the pole position off, but Ryan Kelly still lurking back there in the third. He's going to fall back just a little bit, but that's what Ryan Kelly does. He's working on saving those tires, working on that long run pace, so he can pounce when those guys' tires start slipping out from underneath them.
40 drivers took the green. Colin Carroll did not start tonight's race, and again, driver who has had to go through with a drive-through. That's going to be Tanner Betha, who's going to be currently 1 lap down. So once this caution flag comes out, and if they're the only driver 1 lap down and not involved, they'll bring out yellow. Tanner could get back on the lead lap here very quickly, but you see that for the 4 machine, that is not going to be good because they didn't.
He ain't wrong about that right front. I think I'm using too much of it.
Even in the 4 machine, as the rest of the field side by side, seeing a couple of those drivers. Your Tonnage, who's been on a tear on Monday nights for ISR's team, Larry, our production truck series, currently leading the championship fight in that.
I mean, it feels good right now, but man, lap 10, 15.
11th here this evening. Following the 88 ascent goal, and gotta say, Richard, you and I will talk about it before we went live. This scheme that we're seeing from Noel, excited to see a throwback Dale Hart Jr. type scheme here tonight.
Yeah, that's got to be probably one of my more favorite.
When can I go full throttle?
Jr. look-like schemes, and Noel was bringing out that Dale Jr. nationwide look, and is looking great doing it. Even got the 88. Little design on the inside as well. Looks great there, but he looks like he's about to get past from Jarrett Talmadge, who again has been showing a lot of speed here in the VRS Cup Series as well. Even though he leads in the ISRC, trucks do handle differently.
I mean, it handles.
But he's able to use what he's.
It's handling pretty good. I think I'm saving tire. But I'm pulling away. That's what's.
To the top 10. Also seeing the 28 of Brian P. Johnson able to get by.
Clean air advantage, maybe? I don't know.
Seeing the 28 of Brian P. Johnson. He won this race back in season 2. Now that's a long time ago. Back in season 2, and that was when Brian P. Johnson was one of the major threats to win a championship each and every year. He's trying to find that threat. Worry is a big slide happening ahead of them. That's going to be seeing the 75 of Kevin Rogers in that next level machine. Big slide for himself, keeps it out of the wall.
Hey, somebody tell me if I'm blinking because my CPU
rhymes a whole lot faster.
In the 76,
and I'm not making that
slide, we will fall.
So Larry was having a problem.
Not blinking at all.
Nicholas Renner in the 76 again, making his debut show here in season 11 of the VRS Cup Series. Got a little loose. Nick Renner is a very fast driver.
My CPU is literally running at 175 degrees.
Not necessarily at every track, but tracks like here where tire wear is very, very strong. Save a little bit of time.
1, 2, 3 teammates.
Runs before you start taking speed. But other than that, Renner is definitely a threat for the top 10 every single race.
As you're seeing the challenge going back and forth, those next level machines trying their best to move forward. As well as where do you want to slot yourself? As Ross Tatum with a very strong Rockingham run, trying to find his way, get forward as quickly as possible. And for Ross Tatum, with how well he ran last week, I mean, this is another one of those drivers where if you can find a way to protect his tires, watch out for later on in this run as we're 12 laps in. Starting to already see a transition as big slide. That's Nicholas Renner once again struggling off the exit of turn 4.
Yeah, definitely looks like he's run those tires a little too much. They're starting to wear out very early in this.
It might just be clean air advantage.
He's going to go to the inside and fall back heavy. He's got to let those tires cool down. That might be exactly what he's doing. He's giving up the space now. Let those tires cool off, get a little bit more grip in them so he can at least compete and keep maintaining positions and possibly pass later on.
Trying to hold on his Pete Tart.
Well, there's Ron. He slowed up too much.
You know, we talk about schemes.
All right, man,
and
caution
those
is
that are
out.
eye-catching.
Caution is out.
That
Line up
purple
single file.
rolling out.
Yeah, helps a little bit.
Runner contact back up into the field, right in front of the 48, and our first caution of the day. Oh no, hold the brake as let the field drive on by.
I love you guys, but like
as the field,
tire sets,
big scare early on as Nicholas Renner and Pete Tart getting together.
Yeah, it looked like Nicholas Renner got a little loose coming out of the turn, and Pete Tart just happened to beat the inside and that'll bring out the first caution of the night. Pete Tart did slide back up into the field. I do believe he collected the 48 as well a little bit.
That's how the 600
overall,
go.
Everybody pretty much made it through with very
Don't blow a tire. There's your strategy.
What Renner was concerned about was maybe the comeback up right in front of right in front of
on the wrong way of the tire.
So a few others getting slight tags. Ben Keeney, who came rolling up into that incident, he came to a complete halt.
It did say the tire count in race day info earlier.
Just small taps all around. Got a little bit nerve-wracking on these runs, but I mean that is what Dover brings out. It's those quick bang incidences off the exit of the corner.
It's 15 laps. He caught me on that last one there, but I was trying to match his speed, and I kept checking out. So I'm hoping that was it, and there wasn't some kind of switch over where he got faster at that point.
So that could take a lot of drivers by surprise who haven't raced with here before. I mean, hotter tracks eat those tires up a lot more, and I think that's exactly what we experienced with Nick Renner. As you saw him again there, just gets a little loose coming out of the turn, and it's just a product of wearing those tires down a little bit too early.
They need to fix this damn bump coming out of pit road.
Fuel, others getting damage repair, some checking out to see what they need to do to just maybe find some help in their cars. First of those that went through was GT
there I am.
Through pit road.
Back end
Tyler
is
Dangler
clean.
decided to top off on fuel, and those that got damage repair going to be the 72 of Brad Delph, Mark Morales,
Not
the
a
91, Nicholas Renner, Cosman going to be also getting repairs, Tanner Betha getting some service done, and also Pete Tart going to get service done as well.
Look, I'm on TV.
Are we
screwed on this? Actually, our Lucky Dog Award winner.
All right, man, we're going green next time.
We knew that
this is a rare occurrence, and I'm at the top of this chart.
Either at the stage or a little bit earlier. I think I'll take having a caution earlier on
in this league.
You're racing those lead
Everybody, there is an egg under your throttle for this restart.
Yeah, it's take your damage on a little bit, get that damage done, and learn something from the drivers in front of you.
I have a damn watermelon
help you for
mine.
the long run when we're going to have it later. You might not get stage points, but sometimes having your car at the end of the race, you'll get a lot more points than trying to worry about getting those 1 or 2 extra points and then ruin your car potentially and have to be parked and lose out on
the tire exhaust when cranking left and slamming the brakes.
Already making jokes as we're about to be going green this time by in their driver's tech chat saying good luck wheel spin. We got
Ben, how are the tires doing?
Going early, and as soon as I get in the box.
Is already seen drivers moving forward that protected their tires, those falling back if you didn't. This restart could be critical. Watch out on drivers trying to get onto the throttle, and those tires can stick, and they're not just going to be spinning when you hit an accelerator, because that could cause calamity here at Dover. We've seen it in the past year in the WSSR VRX Race Series. There are some moments where you have some restart wrecks that can be big ones. Can we keep it clean? Let's find out. Enter the restart zone. We're green. Once again, up front, it is clean sailing for now. It is all Brian McCann taking off down into turn number 1. Already about a car length ahead over Ryan Kelly, as Kelly is on the march to take that top spot.
Kelly doing a great job getting up into the second position, now behind Brian McCann, who has led majority of laps so far from the pole position. Larry Yingling was side by side with him for a bit and led a lap or 2, but it's been Brian McCann pretty much the entire time. But now he's got Ryan Kelly, the master of concrete, it seems, the best driver to be saving tires, right behind him. And he's going to look to pounce as soon as he can to get up in that lead, get that fresh air, that clean air, so so that car handles the best it can. Once you're behind someone, that car gets a little bit more tight than normal. So once he gets in front of Brian McCann, he'll pretty much be able to dominate this race and control it how he wants to.
Ross, broadcaster's talking like it's a done deal. Ryan's going to pass me.
Keeps it off that inside wall, continues to race on. Is continuing to see these different shots.
I mean, it's totally possible.
Here's Robert's pick, the 13.
Give me a second.
He runs a 15th position, up 7 spots, making now 8 spots from where he started. To get by Cody Reed in that Hot Wheels machine. And also the vehicle I was going to talk about, that shimmering purple chrome 71 of Nico Garcia, trying to make their way forward as quickly as possible as a state of early slide here on this restart. Curious on how that's going to affect these tires as this run progresses, if you're willing to be more aggressive or back off, as there's that 71 machine trying to get by Cody Reed as quickly as possible, as up ahead of them the be seen still side-by-side battling, and finally able to make the pass. Gavin Rogers is able to stay ahead of Vincent Sora.
Ross Tatum ended up getting the wall a little bit there coming out of the turn, and he fell back quite a bit, falling back by Cody Reed and Nico Garcia. So a little scary moment for Ross Tatum, but he's able to gather the car back up and start moving back forward. But Gavin Rogers now currently looking to the outside of Larry Yingling, going to try to make that pass, but he's just going to follow in suit as they exit the turn. Right up on his bumper, he had the run, but not.
Last lap I checked up some, he caught me, so I sped back up this one.
I'm gonna try to take it 3 wide, but nope, still straight coming out of the turn. And Gavin's gonna make another attempt to try to pass Larry Yingling. Gonna look low.
I think that was too much.
Pass going into turn 3 underneath Larry Yingling for 3rd place.
So Gavin Rogers, Larry Yingling side by side. Yingling still runs on the top end, and they'll keep that nose ahead. Vincent Sora seeing maybe that's the position he needs to be in. Attempt once more on the outside groove. Rogers still holds steady. This is all battling for that 3rd place position. And as Brian McCann continues to pull away from the rest of the field, Kelly looks to be kind of all right with running in 2nd position. Some of the drivers continue to go back and forth. Some of our biggest movers in the top half of the field. And
now he's catching me.
Joshua Kanata up 10 positions for himself. John Forbes, who had to start at the end of the field for the 1, he's up the 21st position, and you can see the 1 machine in the blue outside trying to find any way to move forward. He qualified 2nd, but had an end-of-the-line penalty carried over from last week with driving through too many pit stalls during that Rockingham race. Multiple drivers
something changed on handling. I ain't
stuck in the
figured it out yet.
All this field, which is probably the most dangerous place to be, but you can tell for John Forbes.
Oh man, he's here.
He's quick, but it's have to find the patience, be willing to get to this field safely, so you don't grab any extra damage that's not necessary.
And if anybody is patient, is definitely John Forbes. We've seen him go to the back of the field and work his way up through the field as cleanly as possible. I mean, even back.
I'll let him have it.
You got 1 inside.
Still able to get the car repaired and move back up towards the line.
All clear, all clear.
Good job making the moves as smart as he can to keep out of trouble and not get involved with anybody.
I need to learn off of him.
Good job.
No problem. Whatever he was doing his first like 5 or 6 laps
To the top spot.
is what let him do that.
Being okay with being about a half a second back from Brian McCann to within a lap and a half, ran him down, and probably was one of the easiest passes you could ask for. The 3 hitting his mark and take off and go. Clean air for Ryan Kelly. Brian McCann got to be a little bit worried for the 8, mainly because that he built up such a lead in just 7 laps, but you can tell.
I think he's using more right front than I am.
Backfires, as talking about backfire, Larry Yingling with the middle of the slide for himself. That will give up the 4th place position to Gavin Rogers, as also Vincent Sora is on the charge to try to run down our top 2.
Yeah, Gavin Rogers had fallen back 2 or 3, but also trying to.
I didn't like that.
And just kind of got passed on the outside by quite a few drivers there, but with Larry Yingling slipping up out of the turn, it allowed Gavin Rogers to get back into the 4th position. And he's really following Vincent Sora right now around the track, try to save some tires is what it seems like. That's one thing Gavin is constantly trying to learn, how to better save tires for longer runs. And he's done a lot better keeping up with Vincent Sora right now.
I can't figure it out.
Now making some passes and making his presence known as he gets into the
I think I'm driving it in too deep.
Makes that pass, able to move forward for Crawford, but behind him, you've got some fast drivers. I know for Lucky Duck Motorsports, they're loving to see this. It's Drew Jua, it's Seth Knoll. They're now on their paths to attack as they slowly are taking positions away. Other drivers behind them that are trying to keep up. Ryan Noel going to be back in 11th place. He's going to get by Shane Terrian. And slowly but surely starting to see more and more lucky duck drivers taking positions away and moving forward. Seth Noel.
Yeah, like that. All right.
Positions Drujua up 5. They're finding that good speed to be moving forward.
Lucky Ducks has really filled their roster out with it.
I got my tires a little hot, but we'll work with it.
And they're making their moves. They're definitely more of a late run drivers.
He saved his tires more than I did.
Trying to catch up to these top 4 who seem to have pulled away now as Gavin Rogers has passed Vincent Story. He's now up to the 3rd position. But we've got a big group of cars behind this front 4 that they're trying to get it together and try to make their way closer and closer to make a run and charge to try and win this stage.
Find every point possible. Again, only the top 10 at the end of our stage. End of lap 45 is when that stage will end, unless there's a caution between lap 40 and 45. We'll also count as our stage ending. You want to make sure you're
clear high.
Ollie Fonseca at the 24. So we've got another great battle going back and forth, but up front, 2nd place, it is the hard-charging Gavin Rogers going to get by Brian McCann, and now in a 2nd position within a half a second of Ryan Kelly. And it looks like for Rogers, he just has found some inkling of speed. There's so much more than everyone else as we take her right along with the 75, who's on the charge to catch up to Kelly.
Yeah, Gavin is doing a fantastic job closing that gap. He's up to 2nd now, taking a very interesting line. He's kind of diving into the corner. He'll dive low, let the car drift up in the middle of the turn, and that'll give him a straighter drive off the turn, which helps this car be a little stable on these exits because you're exiting on the less banking instead of the big hill that kind of drops out of the turn. So he's doing a really good job driving that car as straight as he can off the turn, which is giving him that speed and that run down the straightaways to catch Ryan Kelly.
All right, man, caution it out. Line up single file.
Within 4 tenths is the difference between 1st and 2nd.
You see what Gavin's doing to catch you there, Ryan?
As yellow flag is out, trouble further back in the field.
Yeah, he's like 1 or 2 lanes up.
On the back stretch. This looks like he gets caught up in a 3-wide battle as the returning driver of Christopher Norris puts it 3 wide, and it went all wrong for the 29.
Unfortunate to see for Sacchetti kind of getting involved in a 3-wide situation. Not the best thing to happen here at Dover with how these cars react, but right now we're just riding along with him. Not really 3-wide here. There it is, 3-wide Norris going through the middle of him and Kanata, and just gets right hooked up into the wall from Norris. Unfortunate to see. There's probably going to be a lot of damage for that number 29 machine.
Those guys were racing just outside of the top 20, so there was still a lot of racing to do, as that was our first caution, seeing the 40 machine go for his slide. But this does not count as the end of our stage, but this does give strategy. If you want to pit early and try to get track position, once the stage yellow comes out, this is your time to pit. A couple of drivers taking that chance. Pit road's calling for Ross Tatum, John Forbes, as well as Grayson Tanner, Betha, Chris Stitz, all deciding to get some tires and fuel before this stage is over. I mean, it's a gamble to get track position once this stage is done, as this next restart will be our final restart of the stage. But, I mean, Richard, there's positives and negatives, but track position does seem to be a very important thing to have here at Dover.
And track position, it can be very important, but so can new tires. And Larry Yingling pitted from the top 10. And going into the pits, Larry Yingling spun backward. We missed that, but he was sitting backward at pit entrance and has lost a lot of ground now. He is just now getting into his box to get tires. Unfortunate for Larry Yingling, who was running up at the top 10.
And it looked to be confusion of who wanted to come into pit road and who didn't. Yingling waited until the very last moment. You're going to see him duck down as Noel decides he doesn't want to pit and takes out the 67. That's that weird spot, and kind of the hope you give space, but you don't. Between two drivers that were both making very late decisions.
Yeah, that is one downside about trying to do the fake outs for pits is you're going to run into situations like that.
10-4.
It's not necessarily the driver's doing it intentionally. It's just, when you're down on the apron, it's a shorter way around the track. You're typically going to get right next to the guy who's not trying to pit. So the last minute decision from Larry Yingling and then the last minute decision not to pit from Noel, and they just kind of come together, sends Yingling backward, and he lost
Lucky Dog can
all
also
that
drive right up to the pace car. That's how I've been able to pit.
As you
when
will
we
be
run into this
Yingling back in a 35th, now 36th.
Yeah, I would just say if you know for a fact you're the Lucky Dog, just drive basically up to the pace car right before
back up inside of our top 10.
you're supposed to get the wave.
Instead of the top 5.
Instead
We've
of
lost
being,
a few drivers.
half a truck behind or whatever.
Pete Tart is calling it a night. He has left the server. Ben Kinney also looks to be calling it an evening, or at least we'll be sitting in pit road for extended time. Nicholas Renner also continues to sit in pit road after his first incident of the day. We're still waiting on when Colin Carroll, if he can get his technical issues fixed, if he can try to get out there. I know he's been going back and forth, joining the server, exiting the server. The Force trying to at least get some points.
Oh, they got wiggly.
Night is over. Well, this is the final restart of the stage. We find ourselves with Ryan Kelly. Gavin Rogers going to be the front row as we take off and go. And Gavin Rogers, another mistake on the restarts. We saw this in Atlanta, and it happens here at Dover.
Unfortunate restart for Gavin Rogers. Gets a little too excited and loses a ton of ground. In second place, he's going to fall all the way back to it looks like the 7th place position. But unfortunate to see for Gavin Rogers.
And we're going to wait and see as with the timing of
Belt.
It was
Belt did it there.
Sora. I see it go by. He was given a black flag, but it has been cleared. So Vincent Sora does have to give up his positioning. But another driver got a big issue on that restart. It was going to be the 27th Eric Coleman. Big slide through 1 and 2 because of everyone checking up. Loss of about 10 positions for that 27th machine, but with these laps ticking away, Ryan Kelly, pretty comfortable spot with Brian McCann trying to woo his way back up to that top position. This is the other drivers going back and forth. This is the battling currently going on just outside of that 10th place position. The 00 of Brian Noel is that last driver to get bonus points at the end of the stage. Is Ollie Fonseca, big wiggle, slide, 3 wide, 24 to the outside wall as everyone else scoots on through. And now 10th place will be Nico Garcia as the 424. Just a massive loss of all that time.
Yeah, massive loss of position. Ollie Fonseca did a great job keeping that car straight. Even though he bounced off the wall quite a few times, he was going to have a little bit of damage. But the 21 of Ross Tatum taking it 3 wide. 4 cars in a turn by Ross Tatum. A fantastic move. And he's not done yet as he takes it low on Shea Terrian.
If you were ever curious on what fresh tires look like and you go full bore, here is Ross Tatum from 25th position up to now battling for 7th. Give him now up to 5th, up to 6th place. Tatum does not care, 0 care in the world. Main reason why, he took these tires aiming for massive stage bonus points. He's going to be finding himself being about 2 seconds back. Not enough time for the stage win, but at least getting inside of the top 5. It's highly possible for the 21 as we take the last lap of the stage. Drivers further on back are getting into one another, but Tatum, what a move by this 21 machine who goes sliding up into Knoll. Now has to back off for a slight second, but give him at least 2 more spots, maybe even a 3rd as he moves into the top 5.
This is the resources we were talking about. Ross Tatum is sacrificing some resources by burning these tires to the end. Like you just drive like Superman with these fresh tires and drove all the way up to the 5th position from 25th, 4th position from 25th on the restart. That is what new tires can do for you.
Now we get to do some mid-pack driving.
He chose to use to get some
actually
fantastic bonus points.
Not too bad.
6 laps of 20.
We might still be in the top 10 when we come out.
Run. What did his other competition do for Ross Tatum that took tires? They all maybe moved up 1 or 2 spots. Everyone else that took tires said we are protecting our tires to make sure that we can make them last after this run is over. Tatum said, hey, I've got 3 more sets still sitting in pit road. Why not use one to get some big bonus points? Those are some great ones to grab. As Obi Kelly, Brian McCann, Vincent Sora, Ross Tatum, your top 4 with Seth Knoll, Gavin Rogers, Nick Crawford, Drew Jua, Shane Terrian, and Zach Hall.
Someone needs to
grabbing all your bonus
focusing on themselves instead of other people.
At the end of this stage, as now pit road is calling.
Keep me out of your guys'
Brian
beef.
Kelly into pit road.
Man, very shocking. Ross Tatum will stay out on those tires. That's an interesting call. I mean, I guess he's trying to save tires for the later run, which is understandable, but he's going to lose a lot of time. Give it about 5 to 10 laps. He's probably going to lose a lot of positions. And Ben Keeney got a little bit of an update from him. Apparently his CPU is having issues, so that is why he is not able to continue racing with us. So hopefully he gets that issue solved before.
Oh, the tires wearing dead even.
Kelly goes into pit road, our stage winner. And these tires, fuel. I mean, I think the biggest shock for those that maybe pitted for fuel and tires under our last
may have just been using them too much.
I want to know how many times he's tried connecting. I admire his determination.
They have a higher chance of going away before you even get to the end of your fuel run. So why not just stay out there if you know that you're not going to be taking a set of tires? Is Kelly
78, 77.
77 on the leaderboard, first of all those that got done with their pit
So that explains that.
Let's see if we can talk to this 3 machine after his incredible run there to the end. Ryan Kelly's been looking strong, and let's see if we can queue up the 3 machine. Ryan, it's Sam and Richard up at the booth. You got us?
I got you.
Well, stage winner, this has been one of your best tracks in this series. How are you feeling, and how's the car feeling so far here tonight?
Yeah, feels good. Started 5th, started up front, so a good track position there for the first stage, and figured on staying out the whole time. So worked out good, and hopefully we can get up back to the front here at the end.
Here's a real
Dale car. Looks like you were just a master of Dover, almost, is what it seems. Fantastic late run speed and pace. Were you getting a little worried that Gavin start closing that gap a little bit before that final caution before the end of the stage?
Yeah, I was definitely getting nervous. They were getting bigger and bigger in the mirror, so I was just trying to see what they were doing. And
now I got to figure out this
match them here at the end.
Dirty air stuff.
Once again, Ryan,
on the long
congratulations on the stage win. We'll send you back to your team, and hopefully we
talk
to you
behind me, please.
All right, gentlemen, thank you.
Imagine if it goes long.
Okay.
It's going to be tough on me.
Racing.
I just need to get behind Ryan and just do what he does.
We saw be the hard charger there late in that stage. Currently will be the lead driver on this restart, but they'll have John Forrest, who is outside, and you got Chris Stitz in 17. Nazi Major in 4th with Joshua Kanata, who was caught up in our first incident of the day. A couple of incidences we've been trying to avoid here this evening. And then Larry Yingling had the issue, got spun around under those under the pit stops 2 cautions ago. So now the 67 wants to march his way forward. First tires, 7 on back. Stars into pit road. We enter the restart zone, and we are green. A little bit of wheel spin happening for Larry Yingling on that outside row, but it's all Ross Tatum.
Tight.
Got one inside.
Great start from John Forbes actually on that outside.
It's a lot different than clean air.
But that's the difference of the 5 laps of abused tires from Ross Tatum. John Forbes seemed to baby them a little bit more for that run, and which was probably the smarter decision if you weren't going to get points, as he's going to have a little bit more pace and speed. But Larry Yingling is getting back in pace. The cars are kind of driving all around him, but they're straightening out, and it's time to get settled in. A long way to the end. 130 laps to go here at Dover.
There.
A little bit of red versus blue action going from 6
all
on
clear,
back.
all clear.
See Ryan Kelly set goal, trying their best to stay up ahead. Nazi Major over tires, and the first driver really falling back.
Stay low.
Hold their position, and that's just a difference on 10.
Oh, that's Gavin Rogers. He's trying that top side.
On your tires, but
does that actually work?
Just on a handful of laps being ran. Green Black Hard Racing is great.
Or does he not want me taking air off the spoiler?
Dealing with handling.
Why he still went up there?
See the 72 fall back quicker and quicker. Right into the.
I'm in tire safe mode now.
To action. The 72's got to be careful with everyone around him.
He's definitely got to be careful.
Gavin's fast.
This back there is getting a little bit of a bump behind them. It looked like it was the number.
Should I do what he's doing?
Into the back of a potential teammate, but they all keep.
No, I'm just. While I got room here, I'm just gonna go easy on my tire.
Yeah, that was the 77.
Stick to the plan.
Making contact to the 7, and Douglas moving, and everyone got it checked up right into the corner. And one got motorsports drivers running into one another. They all keep it.
This could be a long run.
Slides, tires for the long run. Job on board with 22nd position runner. That's the 12. I mean, Medlin. He's currently about 5, a little bit less than 5 seconds. For a leader, he's seen everyone strung out now.
He has got to be pushing that right front.
It kind of helps the field out for a long run. You got the more space there is, the more space that you're not feeling like you're going to rush and make big moves. It's great for long green flag racing, but if you're wanting to make a lot of passes,
it's messing me up.
All clear, all clear.
A tough spot.
Taking my exit away.
On back.
Yeah, definitely are, and we're actually starting to see the difference in newer tires as well. Benazzi Major, one of the drivers on older tires, he is falling like a rock as he's getting passed by everybody. Currently looking to be passed by Brian B. Johnson. But Zach Hall right here, the number 32 machine, doing a really good job, sitting behind Larry Yingling currently. The drivers are kind of straightening out. Single file racing at this moment. They all know they've got a long way to go. They've got a lot of tires they need to save. And I think that's the mentality of everyone from front to back, is to save their tires and drive as long as they can before they have to pit for either fuel or when you get a flag.
Yeah, one inside.
With the orange dot, the meatball flag for
Stay high.
The required damage flag.
Stay high. Car on the low side. Clear low, clear low.
Tires, all throughout this already in the first 57 laps of this race, but also damaged the outside wall. It is something that is crawling out, feels like it reaches out to you at times, coming off the exits of these corners. But Richard, it is so easy to just misjudge one corner, and you get so much damage that your race can be over, which is what caught kind of the outside wall.
You really can. You can get a little loose going into a turn when you try to correct. The car just wants to snap and shoot your car to the outside wall head on, and that will pretty much ruin your night. That's almost an instant engine expiration moment. So hope that doesn't happen. The guys have been doing a really good job keeping these cars pretty stable. Not a lot of loose driving except for coming off the turns, the exits there. We've seen a few incidents like that into number 40 there, but so they're doing a really good job. We've got a lot of cars here still side by side here in the back with Oliver Fonseca, almost 3 wide, but the 2 wide racing we see currently back here with Ken Campbell and Oliver Fonseca with this group right here.
Don't feel bad. I'm feeling the same way with words and names tonight. We are all trying to make it through Dover. It's been a tough track for some of these drivers as we're watching Ken Campbell. Really the best qualifying run we've seen from the 15 machine.
Yeah, one outside.
He has run his best to march his way forward. We've also seen a couple of other drivers ahead of him.
You just can't get the run off the bottom like that. That's the problem.
All battling outside of the top 20, and you're seeing Ollie Fonseca, Ryan Bird, that continue to stay side by side. Also, Jared Tolman put a big slide coming to the end of the stage on that last restart before the stage ended. And 7, I mean, all that time lost, where can he regain that? It could come down to strategy later on, maybe a lucky caution. It really changed the day for Jared Talmadge. Some drivers aren't really talking about here in the first 60 laps. Here's Tyler Dangler in the 19.
I think what Gavin's doing is protecting his right rear, because our right rear will eventually go away.
Basically, the race for last, and
pretty bad.
Third and the 72. Got to be careful, and with drivers further on back. So we're seeing that major difference on different braking or slowdown points that drivers have.
Yeah, every driver is going to have a different point where they turn in, a different point.
Follow him a few laps, see what it feels like.
It's just how they feel comfortable, what they think they can do to make these cars faster. Because
right on exit is the difference.
It is a fixed setup throughout the field. All the drivers are running the exact same setup on the cars, so it's all in the driver's
You just can't.
They have to figure
if you run this line, you can't plow the front. That's what he's doing.
It's all driver skill, really, is what we say. So, I mean,
he's just letting it naturally ride up the track.
Braking positions right there is the 72. A huge dive into the turn to get under Dingler, but they're going to be.
And it lays the power down better.
That was almost a dangerous move. They kept it straight off each other, though. Good work by both of them.
We talk about rivalries and watching drivers that are fighting for the win. We see scrappy bump and runs that go wrong. There's rivalries billowing up deeper in the field. It looks like Brad Delt and also the 19 of Tyler Dangler, they might have their own little beef going back and forth as Ducati.
Especially when the Samara gets taken off of your spoiler like that.
Yeah, one inside.
This line up here is so much better in that case.
For his second race of the season, the 38, further on back in 36th position. This is an odd place to see this 38 machine who we're used to seeing at least running to be inside the top 20 at times, battling to be inside of the top 10. Struggling here this evening as the 91 of Mark Morales running all the way back in 37th position. Last driver running on track as trying their best. You got Larry Inkling still floundering
Say hi.
on those older
All
tires.
clear, all
Runs
clear.
at 15th position, and currently being passed by Shane Terry and Nico Garcia. Also seeing Tanner and also going to be seeing Drew Jua doing their best.
Say hi.
It's on no! Nico Garcia! Tanner! Huge contact on the inside. We stay
How many laps were around? 20.
That was a huge. Oh no, Tanner! Oh no, the 78 didn't even.
We got 3 tires left.
And wipes out the field.
Well, that is not a good look for the number 78. You gotta pay attention to your relative.
That's what I'm wondering.
Coming from behind, and he just involves more cars.
We got 3 tires left
to be involved. Oh, you hate to see it, especially for Nico Garcia, also who got involved in that, who has not had a great start to this season, who's been in a wreck at now almost every single race now at this point.
And we're gonna try to get the quick replay of this incident. Betha, Garcia, they're trying to find a way to get through. I don't know if there was contact that got Garcia loose that pushed him up high, and then I'm just confused. I get that there could have been a broken steering wheel there, but even if you had a broken steering wheel, attempting to slow down would have been your best decision.
Pitboxing.
Just wasn't the case in 78. I don't even know if we continue to grab more drivers or not, as it's like a different look of this incident.
2,
and
1. Right here.
I don't know if you can see it on your end, Richard, but it is close between 78 and 71 off that exit of the corner.
Yeah, and even if your steering's broke, you can't even see him turning the wheel there. It might have gotten disconnected, possibly.
All right, that's it.
I mean, that's because this steering wheel's not even moving at all, as we can see. So, but either way, like even if your steering,
oh, he stopped.
The brake
no, I think I was looking.
Get on the brakes and slow down. Get that car stopped so you don't fall. But yeah, right there you can see the steering wheel just locks up and goes completely straight. I think that was a complete disconnection of his steering wheel and pedal set.
Just collecting more drivers than necessary, and you hate to see that. And it just letting the car go in its own way. Finally comes to its own hold.
I want to get your brakes checked because you went up 200 RPM.
For Tanner, that's the end of his night. Coming off of not the best debut race you could have asked for. Got a finish that was impressive with how much carnage he was involved last week at Rockingham, but that is not the way that you want to be exiting out of Dover.
All right, man, we're going to be
another driver who expected to be done here this evening. But up front, team drivers that have decided to make pit stops, others that didn't. Going to be C. Drew Jua, Jared Talmadge deciding to stay out.
Now we are unfortunately all on the same tire up here, whereas before
77 and 27 going to be on 22 lap
just like
tires
3 of us
compared to John
tire.
Brian Kelly, who've got some freshies sitting right behind him.
Yeah, some fresh tires sitting behind.
Oh, wait, the top 2 are on
strategy is going to be different throughout the field, and we're going to see who's going to come out on top with this.
That's 22 lap old tires up there.
It's spending some resources now to get your track position.
Which way do you go?
Keep the resources to keep your track position, but Drew Jua, Jared Talmadge are electing to stay out. 22 lap old tires. I think they are going to fall like a rock through this field with everybody.
Oh boy. Hold on, we're going up the middle.
It's on the rest of the field behind them, but also hoping they can hold a steady position on where you're going through.
All right, man.
We'll see how this run goes on. As Drew Jua, Jared Talmadge get ready for this restart. Let's say thank you again to the amazing sponsors of VRS, GTR Simulators, Trophy Smack, Sim Precision, Friends, and Big Push Sim Cams. We got ourselves ready. Another restart here at Dover. Race number 3 for season 11 is back underway. Great launch on the inside, but it's Sean Port's already attempting to pass. Before they even get to the line, the lead position in a blink of an eye.
That's what fresh tires will do. John Forbes to the front of the field on those red tires.
Hey, Tanner, I just watched the replay, man. It wasn't intentional, dude. When you got to my left rear, it got loose.
Good thing I got in that spot. I would have been left out to dry.
21 is now making
Thanks to Larry, sorry you got caught up in that, but that wasn't intentional.
Almost wrecked Gavin having to do it, but I did it.
Coming to the end of the stage, he needed this caution to get back on the same set of tires as the rest of the field. Now it's going to be a true sense, I think, for our top 3 on where they will line up. Definitely our top 4. They are fast drivers that are getting by Drew Jua, Jared Talmadge. This reset's going to be great, but they're going to be 3 wide exiting into turn number 4. Talmadge, huge save in the middle as he was able to keep that thing smooth. Any type of a wiggle could have been a big wreck as the 77-27 continue to try to run on the inside, let their competition breathes on by, and Trujillo just ducks almost to the apron to let the field drive on through.
Man, it's the downside when you have not enough pace to keep up with anybody around you. It's so hard to get out of the way. You know those faster cars behind you, but I mean, it's their job to get around you cleaner. But Trujillo's doing a good job trying to stay out of their way, give them the space, knowing that he not the speed that they do on fresh tires. As he's getting caught up now by the 27 and his teammate number 7. We'll see if these two can stay off each other this time, as they got into each other during that last
emotional damage.
You see that 77-27, both going to be staying in line. So at least you know where the two drivers are trying to get by are.
All right, man.
Stay close. Trujillo trying his best to keep as many positions as possible, just in case a late caution comes out here. Speaking of caution, there's a spin. It's Brad Delph in the 72 going around.
Brad Delph getting around, coming out of turn 2, gets loose. Might have had a little bit of help. We'll have to see on the replay here, but
talk about rivalries. Now with the 19 giving the help and assistance, these two can't get away from one another. As this was the other caution that came out, but it's the 72 and going to be seeing the 19 get together under this caution as they were exiting out of the corner. As Brad Delph, he trying to assist his way off the exit of the corner.
20 laps.
It's tossed around. This is watching that last wreck. This is the replay we're on. Probably be best to go live and then go backwards from there. But it's one of those things where drivers are stacking up. There's just nowhere really to go.
Yeah, I mean, coming out of turn 2, it always gets a little tight and loose also. It's a very strange feeling.
Well, Benny, we meet again.
But, I mean, the cars naturally drift up the track, and because of that bump, they get a little loose. But you hate getting a little bit of help also from behind. And, yeah, we were seeing it earlier. Brad Delph did a huge dive down on the 19 Tyler Dingler earlier in the race. And I think Dingler was just kind of, might have been a little tired of it. And, might have gave him a little bit of a bump and sent him around coming out.
I mean, if you're pushing me here, I got some.
Assistance going to be spending around. Brad Delph still in the race. Dangler as well still in the race. The admins decide after this run is over.
Push me on the hall. How about that?
We got a couple of more drivers calling it an evening.
I like it.
Joining the likes of going to be Pete Sart, Ben Keeney. It's going to be Tanner Betha calling it a night. Nico Garcia calling it a night. Ken Campbell still out of this race, and this is going to be the incident that brought out the yellow. As they were going side by side, Delph trying to get by this 19, and they've been fighting back and forth for the past 30-40 laps. Delph with a big dive bomb move, tries to cut in front of going to be Dangler, and Dangler didn't cut any favors, keeps his foot in the throttle, and around goes to 72.
Yeah, it actually kind of looked like Delph was just in line there, and Dangler was coming up the track and just did not have the space to do so. And that's just, I mean, it's one of those hard decisions right there to make. It's hard to see the nose of your car sometimes, and it's not like he got him in the quarter panel. He literally got him right in that rear bumper. You can see it was a pretty square hit there also. I think that was just a misjudgment of coming up the track, did not realize that he was not clear.
Called it quits for good.
That's going to be our right off this most recent yellow.
I think he got his one lap in.
Road. It was an opportunity for Drew Jua and Jared Talmadge. I don't know if this is going to be a shock, but neither one of them taking that chance to go into pit road. They've still on their, they still have 3 sets of pit road, sets of tires in pit road to work with. I'm shocked by it, but Richard, I'm curious on your thoughts on still staying out there on 30-lap old tires.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough decision right now to make. Right now, the tires are eventually going to kind of plateau throughout the field. But like, they've still got track position for
when this is done, I really might go back and count how many times he tried to connect and disconnect.
And that's just twice as many cars they've got to pass to get back up to the front. So, I mean, they're probably trying to nurse those tires to wait for the equalizer there later in the race, where the tire kind of degradation plateaus a little bit for everybody, and then they can keep backing up.
Guy in front of me is in second.
Cars again.
See, once we go green, get closer to the halfway point of this race, we'll take a look at our Whiplash Syncane's biggest mover of the race. But for now, up front is John Forbes Jr., Ryan Kelly going to be your top 2. As green flag is out of the air, it's going to be Brian Noel on the outside. He did not get going for a car on the outside, but Forbes, great launch, already a car length ahead over Kelly as the one machine wants to show dominance early on. Going to be seeing Nick Ross Tatum.
Oh, tight.
All clear.
Where will they slot themselves?
Back out.
Top 3 are all in line.
start to get in line for the top 3, and that's exactly how you want it to be. If you're driving side by side, you're using more of those tires, you're wearing them down a little bit more. These top 3, they know that. They're going to drive straight in line, not worry about too wide racing is what they're doing behind them, but John Forbes dominating the lead right now. Is right there in his shadow, chasing down the tire tracks.
Yeah, one inside.
The tires the most, right, Kelly? You know there on top like this, but John Forbes doing a fantastic job maintaining.
Say hi.
Here is our Whiplash Simcam's biggest mover of the race. It's Zach Hall.
Say hi.
32 positions for the 32 machine. If you're on an iRacing and you want some great quality cameras, head on over there. Check out Whiplash Simcams today to get great angles for photos or for broadcasting.
All right, man.
As you're seeing Zach Hall ripping it out, trying to find these positions to get by. It looks like he wants them trying to find a way to get by Rob Tatum and follow and see what he can, and also going to be Nick Crawford, but an outside row is starting to stall out as Brian Noel making his charge of the 00 on the inside.
Brian Noel finally starting to get his nose and his name up here in the top 10, chasing down Zach Hall right now, but doing a really good job. Really has been kind of quiet today, but it's time to start making moves. Time to start getting that track position, move your way up.
Say hi.
We've seen quite a few.
All clear, all clear.
The next one will come out.
Inside.
Track position is everything here.
Say hi.
Up there with everybody, you can fit with all the leaders and all be on the same tire track.
Clear low, clear low.
Faster, so doing a really good job. Just kind of taking it easy, not trying to wear those tires down like the guys in front of them still driving 2 lines.
Still there.
2 lines. Ross Davis staying on the inside.
Say hi.
Another position. The 21 fight back. They will do it center of the corner.
Still there.
And other drivers have been making some big moves forward outside of the top 10.
Oh, loose.
Clear low.
He's trying to find his footing to move forward, but it's Joshua Kanata, Douglas Newbigin, big movers of those drivers. All 15 spots is Kanata, with being around damage. Douglas Newbigin was on the big slide. He's still in the fight. He's up 17 spots from where he started in. Douglas Newbigin, a former winner here at Dover, went back in season 7. That was an utter dominance late race run by the Lucky Duck Motorsports team as they had their first 1-2-3 finish that day. Tonight, and get those drivers up front with strategy, we can see, because a lot of these Lucky Duck drivers have been around one another. If the
Ross is yawning it big time.
7.
Drivers, they all tend to drive around each other all the time. They've all about equal skill is what it seems like, because majority of the race you do see 1 or 2 or 2 or 3 of them together for a lot of the time. So kind of what they are.
Say hi.
Doing a great job. The 88 making
all clear, all clear.
Outside of number 7.
Inside.
These guys are doing
Say hi.
They're staying off each other, unlike earlier,
clear
like
low, clear low.
777 did, but at 88, trying to make that move on the outside to get out of Douglas.
Say hi.
Get past here.
Clear low, clear low.
See the rest of the field.
All right, man. You're back
out. And thank you so much to all the amazing sponsors that helped out here for season 11 of the WSSR VRS Cup Series. VRS, the virtual racing school. Head on over to virtualracingschool.com and check out all the things that they can help you with. From giving you telemetry on how you run your laps here on iRacing, to getting helpful notes on how you can drive better. They've been helping out drivers to make it up to the eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series, and their mission is clear: providing each and every driver with the tools and knowledge to reach their full potential, whether it's on the virtual track or beyond. Head on over to virtualracingschool.com to see all the ways that they can help you perform and get faster out there on track. Also want to say thank you to GTR Simulators. Head on over to gtrsimulators.com to see how you can get yourself upgraded to professional level racing rigs to get yourself feeling like you're racing at the real tracks. Go on, and when purchasing, remember to use the promo code WSSR for 10% off on $100 and more purchase. Thank you to GTR Simulators and VRS for being some incredible sponsors to have for season 11. Drivers are all out on track, but currently seeing a few that are just putting on a show. As John Forbes Jr. up front looking strong. The 88 we see here of Seth Knoll trying to make their charge forward. This has been one fun one to watch so far, Richard, but we're just entering the halfway of tonight's race. What are some surprising notes that you're seeing, or drivers that are surprising you so far here tonight?
I mean, I'm going to say Brian McCann. I know he started on the pole, and he's been showing a lot of speed of late, but seeing him up here being able to maintain in the top 10 has really been kind of a surprising run for me here at Dover for him. So, I mean,
he knows
he's fast, but longer runs.
He knows Dover's my worst track.
Great job tonight, and he's currently sitting fifth.
Sitting fifth, having a good run for McCann. A couple of other drivers that are having some pretty good runs. I gotta say, the 00 Brian Noel, who's in the thick of this run that you're seeing. That 00 has been looking very stout on the fact that he just continues to try to have better and better runs here this evening and this season. When we first saw the 00, he was a driver that we felt like would get out of control at times, and he's been finding a lot more of a comfort zone these last few seasons, and here tonight, really performing well in race number 3. Again, this is a track where we usually see Lucky Ducks Motorsports at one of their better runs. We're seeing it so far for a lot of their drivers. Here's the Season 1 champion of the WSSR Cup Series. Is Brian P. Johnson, still trying to get a way around this 00 for 8th place, and that's a tough squeeze in the center of 1 and 2. But Brian
can't make it on fuel.
His way forward now and solidifying into the top 10 as you're seeing Vincent Soro with the dive bomb move for the 51.
Fantastic move for the 51, straight to the bottom of the track to try to get around, but Brian P. Johnson not giving that spot up easily. He charges back on the outside as he has the momentum from that outside lane, and they are still side by side as they exit turn 2. 2 by 2 is what it looks like, and Vincent Soro unable to complete that pass. It's going to be harder for him to complete the pass with just being on the inside. Looks like he might be able to get up in front of Brian P. Johnson, and he will as he finally completes the pass around him.
Former teammates, friends outside of the sim. You're seeing a little bit more friendship news there. And, you know, when you've got a lot of friends out there on the track, it sometimes can be a big help to have because drivers give you slightly more respect than others. If you're
got off my racing line a little bit,
strictly based off how you race the drivers around you, maybe your attitude, and it can hurt you in some ways. And you've seen some drivers attack others, trying their best to just stay on track as much as possible. And right now, Richard, it's been fun to see the back and forth. We do have some updates on drivers deeper in the field. We got Colin Carroll was able to get out on track. He's been running a few laps for the 4. That is beautiful to see. I know they're upset on being 89 laps down, but it's good to see the 4 out there on track. Nicholas Renner still in pit road, getting damage repair, but also seeing some other drivers that were dealing with some heavy damage moving forward, entering into 30th place as Cosman tried his best after being involved with earlier wrecks and heavy damage. Also seeing Cole Sacchetti moving forward.
I don't have enough speed to get around Ross, and I think he's slowing.
And also
Zach is really
big wiggle and slide as the 27 still feeling out of control.
Zach is going to pass me in the next few laps.
Definitely overheated there. Old 50-lap old tires, but he's doing a good job.
Need a caution
under there. And we're talking about Colin Carroll. He's back out on track, even though he's 89 laps down.
Yeah,
I mean, it is just a sim for us. It's not something you do for a living like the real NASCAR drivers. But I mean, it's great to see drivers come back out still with their issues and still try to put laps on. Because there's no better practice than seat time. And that's exactly what Colin Carroll is doing. He's getting out there trying to see if there's something he can learn from all the drivers around him, so he can possibly use for later races in this season. So
wow, big tight.
Out there, try to gain maybe
I had to get out of it.
With other drivers that decided to call it a night, but it's always
either get out of it or wreck.
Get back out on there, even though they have no chance of winning race.
And with 80 laps still left in this race, this Ford machine can grab quite a few positions. I mean, probably the last position he could grab, maybe 35th position. We find Nico Garcia, who called it a night. Right now, Colin Carroll runs the 41st spot, and where he would have finished if he had just ran one lap, but if he finishes all the laps here this evening, that is a huge pickup for a driver who entered tonight, being on that 16th place bubble spot, trying to make the playoffs. You need these type of races where you just fight no matter what the issue is to get every spot possible.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, he definitely can at least get 35th. That is the highest he can get, but hey, that's still better than the 1 point he would have gotten from 41st. So he's doing a good job. Glad to see him back out on track, trying to get every little bitty point he can do. But right now we're riding around with Justin Malarkey in the number 73 machine, back in the 24th position, still trying to make some moves. Look at the outside of Ryan Bird, able to get his nose all just there. Ryan Bird does give him the room smartly, but Justin Malarkey making a little bit of ground trying to make these passes back to back to field.
Yeah, Malarkey up 6 spots from where they started here tonight in 26th position. So, I mean, from seeing all
it's my right front tire I got hot.
Malarkey, excuse me, from that 29th position. And
been so worried about protecting the right rear.
Yet, it's great to see Malarkey at times. Super Speedway races, seeing the 73 battling up front. It's these intermediate tracks, the short tracks. We're going to see the struggle for Malarkey, but it's awesome to see him battling inside of our top 25 and trying to get to that midpoint of this race field where, for some drivers, that's your ultimate goal that you're aiming for. It's maybe not for a win, but it's to get the best finish you can, and we're seeing that right now from 73 with, again, 75 laps to go here tonight. As the battling for second place, for the first time really looked up front in a while, it's Ryan Kelly and Gavin Rogers, as these drivers are now 30 laps into these tires. We're starting to see that difference on
Gavin took it
and who's aggressive.
Yeah, now's the time to start making moves. Gavin Rogers, he is starting to show some speed. He's going to make the pass around Ryan Kelly now. I think he has finally said, hey, it's time to start moving forward, seeing what these tires can do. Pits will eventually have to happen. But Gavin Rogers now sitting in the second position. They've got quite a bit of ground to make up on John Forbes as he's got out there. They got under a second now, but he did have a pretty decent lead earlier. But they're starting to catch John Forbes. He has used those tires up a little bit.
There we go. I might throw a water bottle out.
There, but he shows back up, still connected to the server. So good.
That's exactly what I needed.
Quick little blinks, but issues in the middle of the field, and it is trouble striking for the 7 machine.
Well, are you trying to make it or something?
Newbegin going around on the entry of turn number
I would have been.
It's the 32
As
car.
it looked like to be contact made between Colin Carroll and Douglas Newbegin that were close.
At the front, buddy.
The 7 was trying to sneak his way through without any damage.
Well, I don't know, dude. Shut up.
It is not going to be the case.
You didn't win your Coke 600, so.
Seeing the 4, 7 machine, exit of 4. It gets very close between these two drivers. The 7's trying his best to stay low, and slight graze there. And that's what gets the 7 out of control and then goes for a ride.
Yeah, the 4 is on the outside there. 7 was coming up the track. I think it did look like the 4 might have gotten into the wall, came down, got into Douglas there, but kind of keeps it off the wall. Had a small hit. Shouldn't be a lot of damage for Douglas, so should be a quick in and out with the damage fix. But you hate seeing yourself spin out by a car that's so many laps down, but I think he can still recover and still have really good finish for himself.
As the rest of the field making the decision, pit road is calling. Everyone going to be making a stop here. No one's staying out for potentially trying to just lead a lap. 7 locks it down. There's the contact, and
I was killing that right front. Okay.
Give you a lot of damage. You can usually get that damage fixed up, and the car will run.
There we go.
Pretty much like it's brand new.
Get off that a little bit.
See the 7 how quickly he leaves pit road. Looks like he'll stay.
Be mindful.
You can still get those 4 tires repaired, but how long you decide to stay in pit road after collecting damage, always an interesting thing to watch. For some, it's get it all repaired. Others, it's get little bits and pieces done as the run progresses.
Nick.
Yeah, it's all part of the different strategies and getting your damage repaired. But drivers, everyone down pit road, they're getting the tires. Now it's
enjoy
back
this giant wreck that's going to happen at the front, though.
Everyone's going to be on the same set of tires.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad I'm slow. I can't speed up that road.
We'll see who they've still got.
You get to be in the back together.
80 laps, just over 70 laps left in this race. Still a lot of racing to go, and those tires can still wear down quite a bit. So. Who's still got that long run pace? Ryan Kelly's still up there in 3rd. He might be a little faster this time.
I gotta figure out how to do what Gavin's doing better. He eventually took the lead.
Still going back and forth. We'll see when those get cleared up. A couple of drivers, we talked about our.
Where was he? Was John in the lead?
Biggest mover of the day.
Gavin was going for it either way.
A couple of other drivers that are close in the numbers where Hall has climbed up 29 spots, up 24 spots. Back in 14th, that's where we find GT Irizarry, as he's been trying to find his way moving forward, and also Andrew Medlin up 22 positions from where he started here tonight. Those are your big 3 drivers that have really gained a lot of positions here tonight. Other drivers that are up less than 20, Ross Tatum back in 4th, he's up 14 positions. Chris Stitz is up 11 spots. Those are some great runs for themselves in. Other drivers we've talked about already. Joshua Kanata up 15 positions, and Justin Malarkey up 10. But up front, John Forbes got Rogers. They got some fresh tires. Now no longer waiting to see who can save them, but with coming up to 70 laps to go when we go green. We could potentially on fuel take it to the end. The question is, can we stay green until the end? It's going to be the true question as pit road calls for a pace car. All eyes on the one. When will he go? Can Gavin Rogers time the restart to enter the restart zone for race number 3? We're green once again for John Forbes. And here we go, Richard, down into turn number 1.
Turn 1, John Forbes, a strong restart, shot out like a cannon straight to the front. And he's going to have a great lead for this first lap, and Gavin Rogers will sneak out in front of Ryan Kelly. And now the 21 of Ross Tatum, he's looking to the inside of Ryan Kelly also to try to get third position. But Ryan Kelly stepping back a little bit, going to try to save those tires and then make his move later in the race. But the top 6 was under single file, and that's what they're going to again. Strategy, the long run. Don't waste your tire. Don't waste those resources. Don't race when you don't have to. As they go in single file going into turn 3.
And I think this is the quickest time we've seen all these drivers just go straight to single file. And I know for some it's out, take one spot, maybe 2, but everyone recognizing the fuel, you can make it to the end of this race. Tires, you have to be focusing on protecting your tires immediately. If this race goes green, if you are not protecting your tires, you're not making it to the end of this race. Your tires could start already popping 50 laps into a run if you're being too aggressive. If we take a look at the weather, that also can give us a good glance on tire-wise as well. It hasn't changed a lot since the start of the race at 121 Fahrenheit. It's now up to 122 is the track temp. 88 is the air temperature. That has gone up a degree, but with how hot this track is and how quick you can run around this course, if you're not saving your tires, you're going to see drivers having issues with about 30 laps to go to maybe 25 to go. After that, it's all on who's protected.
If there's one driver that can definitely make those tires last those 70 to 80 laps, that will be Ryan Kelly. But, you know, maybe these other drivers have figured out what he does to save the tires for that long. But we'll have to see when it gets closer to that time. You know, hopefully nobody has to pit. We're going to have a very close finish.
The lead
single file is definitely what they're doing right now. Not a lot of movement. Everyone keeping kind of the distance they want, staying far enough back where they're still striking distance to have that draft, but not too close to where they're getting dirty air, which upsets that car so much and makes it drive really bad. So
right here I got so much grip, but they're not using it. They just.
With everyone in line,
I feel like I can use it, but I guess I can't.
This might be our one and only time of the night.
I'm just gonna follow Vince in front of me. He a lot quicker than me on the long run, so.
Side by side, so if there are any passes or action going on, you won't miss a thing. We'll take a quick rest for our boys. Prepare for the end charge as we are coming up to 60 laps to go. You've been watching the WSSR VRS Cup Series Season 11, Race 3 here at Dover. We've been proud to be all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll be back right after this with more racing action.
These are the VRS Pro pedals. So it's a high-end parts, stainless steel construction with an industrial aesthetic. Very, very adjustable. All 3 pedals, the pedal faces in terms of height, depth, angle are fully adjustable. And overall, is also adjustable. Now, if we look at the throttle pedal first, we have quite a unique design.
Just going to do what they do.
Obvious spring, which doesn't quite look like to the eye. Functionally performs extremely well.
Try to do what I was going to do last time. I was 10% lower on my tires, so.
And we have a lot of adjustability here in terms of.
I don't know how Gavin's doing it. Hope I don't get past. Seth's using that extra grip. These guys in front of me are not.
Inside. Still there. The lead is at 24.368. Clear low, clear low.
He says doing what I think I could do, but I don't want to do. I don't know what the cue is to know not to do that though.
Stay low.
I should have just stayed behind him. I'm gonna get freight trained here. Dang it.
Stay low, there's a car on the high side.
Because of that.
All clear, all clear.
As soon as Seth got in front of me, he started losing his tire.
I feel. How much do you want the 38?
What'd you say?
How much do you want the 38?
Deleted just did a 24.779.
I need to get back around Seth. These two guys in front of me, I know they're quicker. There we go.
Got one inside. Clear low, clear low. Got one inside. Still there?
Perfect.
Hold your line. Clear low, clear low.
Now me and Brian in front of me have to get around Chris. I think Chris is going to hold us up here on the long run.
Deleted just did a 24.9.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a perfect time to do so. You're seeing the battling going on just outside of the top 10. We also got to go up to the lead because John Ford Jr. has been dominating, but he's about to be under fire.
To take or not to take?
75.
That's 25 laps. I guess we're going to have to.
We are coming down to the last couple of laps. We'll take it back. We got a caution in the back.
Oh, that extra stat,
And
right?
it looks to be Slow Machines of
Jared, we
Brad Delph as well. So it's 72.
I think we have to, too.
Go for a little bit of a spin as drivers were trying their best not to bring out a late caution, but it does come out, and now it's strategy time. Does everyone come into pit road? Does no one hit pit road? As the contact was between the two teams. Here's the replay of what brought out the caution as we came back from our commercial break.
Yeah, it actually started with the 72 and the 91 of Martin Morales coming out of
Another
the
lucky
turn.
dog, boys.
72 kind of snapped a
more of
little
those
bit
and
and went
come
high,
back,
got into the side of the 91, and then he just couldn't really gather the car back up, shot back up the track, I see right there, and gathers the number 2. Unfortunate to see.
Sorry.
And now the strategies of pit calls or stay out is going to come forth. We'll see who decides to stay out and who decides to pit, because I think this is going to really determine who wins this race and who comes down pit road for some fresh tires.
I mean, we saw during the end of that stage, Ross Tatum proved it. If you got the tires late, you can dominate and run down a lot of drivers and pick up in 6 laps over 20 positions. I don't think it would be as easy as we saw at the end of the stage.
I've been in a position too many times where if you don't take it here, it'll go green.
The amount of drivers looks to be about 12, 13, 14. It continues
So I'm playing it
up.
safe.
The half about splitting the field in half on those that took tires and those that stayed out, as it's going to be a total of 16 drivers deciding to stay out. John Forbes, also Brian McCann, going to be leading those that decide to go into pit road and get service done.
Yeah, 16 staying out. The other one's getting the tires. Gavin and Rogers, a lot of our front runners, they decided to come in, get some fresh tires. That might be the smart decision. We still have a lot of racing, just over 40 laps to go. So, I mean, track position could still be king here, but we'll see the guys from 17th position on back fly through this field. Probably not like Ross Tatum did in stage 1, but they're going to try and baby those tires a little bit more, but they're going to be able to make passes a little easier for the next couple of laps with those.
So it was about half.
This is where the strategy comes in.
Right down the middle. Top 16, all the way back to
decision and the right decision at the right time.
17 to
front and win this race.
Trying to see who's got damage. Probably about 32. So yeah, perfectly about half.
Laps, caution comes out. Some of the drivers that just came into pit road, they used their last set. They are stuck with what they have. There are other drivers that still have one set left that have already pitted. One of those
have to be on the lookout for wrecks on this go.
We talked on the fact that they stayed out so long without pitting for their second set of tires in pit road. Well, this is where they have the chance of being rewarded, where they've got the chance to use a set now, and if we get caution in 20 laps, they can use another set. They are in a prime position, the 77-27. I'm loving the spots that they're in, as long as they stay out of trouble. The drivers that are currently up front leading this race, they need at least 15, 20 laps. They need to have an advantage on the tires that they can get rewarded with. We'll see if that's going to be the case, as everyone's stacked up side by side. It's Ross Tatum, Brian P. Johnson, Brian Noel. The Brian's going to be second and third, with Seth Knoll going to be in fourth, Zach Hall fifth, Shane Terry going to be in sixth, seventh is Joshua Cloud, JT Rosario eighth, ninth is Douglas Newbiggy with Cedric Hunter in 10.
Should have been in first.
Yeah, one inside. It's time for 43 more laps of racing action. Green flags in the air. Load wheel spin going to be happening all throughout our top 16, but it's Ross Tatum and Sentinel going to be the leading two as we head into turn number 1.
Ross Tatum got a great start. Wheel spin in that outside lane, kind of set them back a little. Able to follow Ross Tatum around, but Brian P. Johnson not giving up that easy. He's still
not liking this
outside position, not allowing Seth to get up into the outside lane. Still going to be there as they come back there. 4, and it's still side by side racing throughout the entire field. We did not see them get single file like they've done the past couple of restarts, and the new time already flying through the field as Vince's sort took a 3 wide and a caution in the back of the field.
I got a 4
That's going to be Ryan Kelly's spot.
I never got a 0
initially,
so I don't know
is out, and I don't
Kyle
think
and I netcoded there or what. I had no room, I couldn't do anything regardless. But
to be rewarded with pitting now, but Gavin Rogers, you talk about drivers that fly through the field. He's moved up to now 9th position with the run that he was ripping on the top. Here's what brought out our caution. Ryan Kelly and others get to see in their mirrors.
Hey, how much more killed is my nose?
He snapped loose and
No, it was not great before.
With drivers all around. Justin Malarkey also getting a piece of it. You saw the back of that shot. As seeing the 41, wounded, limping, heads to pit road.
That's unfortunate to see. I mean, that was a very quick caution to come out. It's probably one of the quickest we've seen all night, and it was just 3 wide racing back there that kind of is what brought this out. Vincent Sawyer through the middle, gets in a little bit to the 41, gets pinched up.
What is this 49 doing?
Lost control of the car.
Down,
collected Justin Malarkey, pretty heavy hit there, but
really hard for
a couple cars with some light damage, or even if any at all. So if all that said and done, that's a pretty small wreck with what could have been.
Yeah, with spinning around, 8 other drivers, that should have been a lot worse, but luckily to the rest of the field, they were able to avoid as cleanly as they could. Again, Justin Malarkey getting a good glimpse of that issue, and that was just drivers with fresh tires trying to work their way through. The 41, Ryan Kelly, was on an older set of tires, yet to pit to take his final set, and he was not happy with the fact the way he was taken out there, as field able to continue to stay clean and green out on course. And what's funny, we talk about drivers, the mental fortitude. There's the Ford machine of Colin Carroll, who, because every driver that has gotten caught up in a wreck or has gone a lap down has basically called it a night for the race. The 4, every time there's been a caution, these last couple of cautions, has gotten a lap back. Now only 86 laps down. And again, if we continue to see these laps tick away and the 4 can run every lap, they will be able to advance up to 35th. That's the highest that Carroll can get up to. But it has been fun to watch the 4 just take every position possible.
All right, man, we're going green next time.
For 41st position, not able to even start the race with computer issues, to now up to 38th, just staying out there on track.
Yeah, I know. It's funny to see when you see someone down that many laps getting the lucky dog and getting a lap back. But yeah, so many drivers laps down that are in the pits getting repaired or called it a night. So it allows him, being the only car, the first car lap down, getting those laps back, and has already gained, like you said, 4 positions. So he's getting those points, and he's still getting track time and practice, and that's way more important than anything else you could have.
Absolutely is. As the field knows, practice, track time going to be the key. And for a lot of these drivers this week, they go moving here at Dover, where it has been a tough, worn down track that has just been turning up your tires. We head to a track that should bring out some joy. We're heading to Texas. Track that's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot of drivers on top of one another. Who can save their tires? Who can be aggressive? You'll have to find it out next week. Texas for our 4th race of the season for 150 laps. Tonight, though, still a lot of racing to go down. Gavin Rogers runs in 10th position. It's going to be the first driver with the freshest of tires. John Force back at 12th. Will be the second highest of those with fresh rubber. Up front, everyone's on 33-lap old tires. We're in the top 9. How well can you take off here? We'll find out. Green flags in the air. A little bit of a slow shimmy on the outside. And it's all Ross Tatum. Car length and a half ahead of the rest of the field.
Ross Tatum's definitely got these restarts down. He's been able to get some great restarts shooting out like a cannon.
Hi, buddy.
Gavin Rogers taking it through Granada. He's making some major moves, a lot of speed from those fresh tires. He wants to start moving up, gets almost into the back of the zero there, but he's still passing cars. Brian P. Johnson comes up. Almost a wreck. The 0-0 is able to gather it together.
He's doing it well there, so it'll be 3 laps stacked all the way through. That is 3 stacked almost 4 all the way through. And you just see the middle of the pack. There's just nowhere to go. And down to the inside is going to be that 0-0 Brian Noel. He's going to be trying to stick it to the inside. They're going to still be about 3-4 wide, heading into turn number 3. Watch out for Douglas Newbigin as he almost gets into Bird. They're still running on top of one another, keeping it straight. No yellow flag, but down into turn number 1. Hey, Richard, this is just a madhouse of drivers on the old and new tires. You can see the major difference. And it's John Forbes who slides his way through with Ryan Kelly. Better than Rogers on the outside.
They were 3 wide up here in the lead as well. Gavin Rogers still taking it 3 wide. And the 3 drivers that have been the talk of the race are back in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd position. Forbes, Kelly, and Gavin Rogers, the top 3 drivers on the newest tires, back to the lead. And they are still 2 and 3 wide further on behind them.
We've been watching guys, Ryan Kelly going back and forth, but majority of this evening. John Forbes took a gamble at the end of the stage and decided to pit early with all the challenges that they started last year tonight to now leading this race. Gavin Roberts just put down the fastest lap of the race. He's trying to find a way to get by Ryan Kelly up front, but you can see here the chance of a caution is right in the battling from 6th on back. It's just a madhouse for this group. Where do you go? Because it's just looking like a wall of drivers, and you're back to the lane in picks right. Crawford gets spun, away he goes. Caution is out, and that's changed everything.
This is where all the drivers on old tires should come down and take the last set of tires they have, because it is going to be a major difference. There was drivers all over the place, a huge mixing pot of old and new tires.
Did I cut down on your nose?
That can cause. Caution is out. Nick Crawford spun sideways. It hits the inside wall with the nose.
His silence
should be a little bit of damage on him, but the 27.
And unfortunately,
you're always complaining about everybody else driving everything, and
16 cars with new tires, but
for Nick Crawford, he had already used.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he did the same thing.
I survived. We got that going for me.
Not going to be the case as he gets flipped by the 27.
I don't know what happened there.
Right on board of Jared Talmadge. He still has an extra
anything,
set.
so I didn't think I did
still
anything wrong.
1, 2, 3, 3 cars on old tires in front of me.
I couldn't really say anything when I was trying to save it, but I'm not really that upset at him.
You have to follow them. You can't just wait, because if you don't pit as a group, with those that are on those older tires as a full group, this could backfire quickly, and you could be so far back, you just don't have the, you're going to have to work your way from about 30th all the way up to the lead if you're one of the lone drivers to pit now. But here's the grouping of drivers that we expect to see hit pit road. It's from 15th on back. Half the group that needed to pit are coming in.
This is such a hard decision to make as a driver here in the VRS Cup Series. You still, like these guys pitting, they're pretty much hoping that there's no more cautions. Those that are staying out, they're hoping that there are cautions so they can have fresher tires for the last bit of runs. But it's always a gamble this late in the race. You never know what's going to happen. Zach Hall thought about going to the pits. Nobody followed him. He made a last-minute decision to come back up. But a good 10 cars behind him, that's where the cars decided to start coming into pit road.
Hey, you're back
out here. They're getting fresh tires, and they're going to try to make that charge back to the front.
And I think what made that pit stop so difficult for Hall was because he expected there to be more drivers that are on the same strategy for his tires to be behind him. The problem is that they weren't about 10 drivers back. So when Hall had already passed the pit entry, all those other drivers made the indication they were coming in. And I think for Hall, that was just the big thing that's going to hurt him here, is now if he does pit,
that's not
got about 6 other guys.
Hall's gambling for another caution,
mired around
like late,
position.
And there's a good chance there's going to be some more cautions after this because everybody's on different tires.
Yes, he would. That's who he's aiming for. Not me.
So if he can take his last set of tires in the last 20 laps or so,
this is a tough spot.
Might be all right, but he's got to have it go green from here.
Was the best time to
it can't be repetitive yellows, because repetitive yellows is just helping us.
The traffic jam that they have line here, like I think me and Ross, I don't know who else got old tires up there. You don't want to be a part of that when you're back in the back of the field, in the middle of the field.
Yeah, let's see here. We got, what's the car numbers? 32.
That are causing these checkups, that are causing these
21.
situations where everybody's getting into each other. So, I mean, it's not
28.
I don't envy the drivers like Zach Hall or Ross Tatum or any of them out there on those older
Ross, Brian, Zach, road tires.
Opportunity they have to get fresh tires to balance this out.
Brian is 2 cars in front of me.
Here tonight, we are left with just a total of 32 drivers on the lead lap.
All right, man.
Adele, Nick Garcia, Ken Campbell, Tanner Betha, as well as going to be Ben Keeney, Nicholas Renner, and Pete Tart, all have called it a night. Who else will join them? We'll have to wait and see. But up front, 15-lap old tires compared to 42-lap old tires. Going to be the difference between our top 3 to Zach Hall. And we'll see how well they can stay up front, or will it be the drivers further on back that can maybe run them down? John Forbes, the great launch for himself up front. Ryan Kelly going to line right back in line with them. Same with Gavin Rogers. Now let's pick your poison. Where do you feel the fastest? With less than 30 laps to go. When do you save? Can you even save? Because it is all go mode. There's drivers in the back going 3 wide out in turn number 3. But it is here. See here. All those drivers clustering up once again in the middle of this pack.
middle of the back. It is a bomber to 3 different strategies. And we have a caution out again.
Well, that helps me.
Drivers like Zach Cole, it might be a good time for them to come in and take new tires. But another caution late in this race at Dover.
That's going to be the 19 of Tyler Dangler and Ryan Bird. As Bird was trying to ramp his way up through the corner, Dangler gets caught up on that issue. This is Dangler catching up with the field. You know, seeing these drivers, the way that they're trying to attack in the corner, it's one of those races, I would say, Richard, where if you're hauled,
how did that all
yes,
become my fault?
Yellow is nice to have, but if you pit now,
I didn't say it was your fault. I said I wasn't expecting it.
If you're going back to 32nd position, I mean, you have to still wait. You cannot pit now.
Track temp is lower in too. It's 117 now.
You see the difference on your tires. He could even fall, you know,
back.
Well, not really further back, but I mean, it's such a hard decision to make because you know you're going to lose a lot of positions. You're just kind of hoping that something happens and you know you keep these cars under yellow.
We cut it in half.
Don't give up that track position. So it's a tough decision. Zach Hall will probably more than likely stay out on these tires just so he doesn't lose and get all the way back to the last place. Basically,
got the lucky dog.
And that replay was showing an earlier caution that we had as the field is all trying to get themselves in line. No one's really making a decision to go to pit road except for 2. I think that back 3, Ollie Fonseca, Joshua Corner, and Ryan. I mean, it's going to be Kyle Rochelle all coming into pit road.
Only 80 down now. It's anyone's ball game.
So them getting this service may influence them to have a better finish at the end of tonight. We also have more sponsors that we want to say thank you.
Ryan, I kid you not.
One of
the
those
other two of my voice chat could confirm. Is that right before you touched
celebrate
me?
your high and low moments.
All right,
and on over to TrophySmack.com to check out their customizable, incredible trophies,
I mean, it's my fault, but I was
and
expecting to have
You've
the
got
bottom
pre-made or ones you can customize your own liking as well.
Cut back
as
under
you
you.
go get yourself a metal
So the newest tires.
And I heard 3 wide at the last
custom
second.
image,
Too
and
late.
with their wall safe magnet system, you can place it on the wall. You can get their stamp, put it on your desk. Show off your victories. Show off your low moments.
I gotta go up there and
we
wreck
love
Norris.
to show them all from TrophySmack.com.
Newest tires are in 19.
Promo code WSSR Smack.
You always have
off.
So we're gonna get mixed up even more. Oh boy.
TrophySmack.com. If you're also looking at yourself into 3D printed sim racing gear and one-of-a-kind pieces built with passion and precision, head on over to...
Oh, that's good. I'm on the outside line. The 21 and 32 on the inside right there are old tires.
Are you sure it's not because he's talking into a curling iron?
WSSR, get 10% off of your
So
order.
hopefully I can get around both of them in game.
Sim Precision Shops, Precision Prints.
I think
some spots here.
Thanks so much.
The guy to my left is screwed.
Help out the WSSR VRS Cup Series for season.
Unless they go 3 wide, he might take it 3 wide.
We know this race probably isn't over yet. We're expecting more cautions with all the tire differences that are out there, but I mean, if your guys in the middle of the field, how do you even mentally prepare for this upcoming restart where you know there is so much on the line?
It's tough in the middle of the field, and also, you know, what's going through the leaders' minds also, driver like Gavin Rogers, who wants to get that win on the season. I mean, are you expecting more cautions? Do you drive that car as hard as you can to get to the lead?
Get ready.
Or do you do that and then ruin your tires for a long green flag run? It's a hard decision to make throughout the entire field. In that middle of the back, they have got to show a little bit more patience with those drivers still on older tires. As, I mean, it's just speed difference is crazy.
We talk about how the cream rises to the top at the end of a season, at the end of the races. Well, guess what? The top 4 drivers are the top 4 drivers in points. Where will they finish? Can they stay as the top 4? Let's find out. Now we're back to Green Flag Racing and John Ford Jr. leading the charge as Nightmare Fuel teammate Vincent Sora following on the outside. And guess who? It's Drew Jua now up front, finally with a chance to be inside of the top 5. But can we stay green? They're already going to be 3 wide, back battling around 17th position. But it's Forbes, it's Sora, and now Kelly fighting strong on the inside up front.
Gavin Rogers jumping back to the 5th position. Got to get some speed back underneath and get that ground closed in. They are going 3 and 4 wide further back in the field. Also, that's the difference in tires we're seeing for Vincent Sora, Ryan Kelly. Vincent Sora making the pass on Ryan Kelly on the outside. Side by side for a little bit there. But Kelly
still there.
some ground here, trying to challenge Vincent Sora again, back for that second position. Sora, that outside line working really well. And as Drew keeps bouncing off that wall, that'll eventually give Gavin Rogers a chance to get around him and potentially break Drew Jewell's car.
There was a slight raise. It looked like one of John Forbes coming off the exit of turn 4. We'll keep an eye on that, because the more and more you tap it, the better chance you could be of making some fatal damage that could hurt your run for later on in this race. As, oh no, Kelly! Also, Rogers hard contact to the outside wall. Now going to be seeing Chris Stitz trying to capitalize on that run. But both the 20s, the 75, and as well the 3 machine. Hard contact off the exit of the corner.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly, Gavin Rogers trying to get his nose to the outside there. Ryan Kelly was not clear, drifted up and went across the nose of Gavin Rogers and into the wall for both of them. Ryan Kelly, getting the worst side of it is, the best position to Gavin Rogers, and is now back being challenged by other drivers like Chris Stitz. So he has got to get got to get his mind straight after that situation. But Gavin Rogers, he's got to get some moves going and get that line that he was running earlier. Try to gain back up on Drew Jewell and challenge for that lead.
Outside looking in, drivers that just entered the top 10. Cosman in the 48. He was caught up in those earlier wrecks. He is now moved up in the 10th position. He's on the same set of tires as everyone else that is inside of the top 12. But they got to be careful. Shane Terrian back in that 13th position. He's got the freshest set of tires, but it just doesn't look like the speed is there to run down and pass everyone that's in front of him. But we are seeing some drivers that we really haven't talked about all night long that maybe were running outside of the top 25 because of their strategy calls. They're back in the fight. Speaking about back in the fight, here's our pole sitter, Brian McCann, on the outside, slicing his way past the 17 to Chris Stitz.
Yeah, Brian McCann has brought his car back up to the top 10, trying to make moves, get further up. But also, like you said, the cars we haven't talked about all race, Cody Reed is one position out of the top 10, sitting back in the 11th position. It is great to see Cody Reed here at Dover racing and trying to get a top 10 where, he won the opening race, the only race he won last season out of Atlanta. And
they're getting tight, too.
I haven't talked about him at all today, and he's looking out, or the outside looking in.
Big move by GT Rosari. He went from basically the middle of the backstretch and just dove down to force it 3 wide on Douglas Newbigin and Nick Crawford. They both back out of that pass, and GT Rosari not able to capitalize on that run. But Shane Terrian has moved up to 12. Looking at last lap pace, he's good enough to be inside of our top 4. The problem, he's back in 12th. Cosman going to be back here running in 9th place for the debut race, the 48. Talking about mental fortitude. This has been an incredible one. Just needed some help with the strategy call. And now it's the 48 machine looking for a top 10 finish in his debut race of the WSSR VRS Cup Series. They continue to race on. Up front, they're racing on as well. Forbes, Sora, side by side as they go into turn number 3.
Grab some popcorn and throw a blanket over that top 4 as they are all that close to each other. And a little bit of contact from Forbes and Sora there. Just a little in the quarter panel, but Sora looking low on John Forbes. This is the challenge for the lead. Drew Jewell looking in the shadows also. These cars are out to win this race. 4 drivers with potential to win as we count down the laps here tonight.
On Monday night in the ISRC Truck Series, it was coming to the final 3 laps. It was between Forbes, it was between Sora. That was the trucks at Phoenix. Here on the concrete, here at Dover on Wednesday night, in the next gen cars, it's the same 2 drivers, different night, same thing, same action we get to see. The 1 and the 51, back at it, back and forth. The only new combination we get to see is Drew Jewell and Gavin Rogers. They're now the new factors. Are they going to be the ones that can shake up the teammates, or will the teammates stay in line and just say, you know what? Let's keep each other 1-2, and let's get the best team race we can. Or will it come down to, we're racers, we want the win, 12 laps to go. Will Sora fight back on John Forbes?
I think the smart decision is to not fight back yet, to save a little bit of that tire resource towards the end, because the longer you two try to drive side by side, it looks like Sora will do that. They're just going to drive in line right now. Sora's will look low. He might take it side by side, but if they drive side by side, that's going to scrub speed off for both of them because they both can't take an optimal line. That will allow Drew and Gavin Rogers to catch back up and challenge them again. They're still going to stay side by side. They need to get in line, pulled a little bit of distance from that other two. But Vincent Sora still trying to side draft a little bit from Forbes and takes it low again. He is trying to get this pass done on his teammate to get the lead tonight.
Vincent Sora, the two-time champion, back in season 4 and 5, wants to get back to that pedigree. Finished off last season with winning at Homestead. A little bit of trouble though for Gavin Rogers with Drew Jua backing off at 75 as he had a late entry into turn number 3. Hurts both himself and Drew Jua as they exited turn number 4, but Vincent Sora, he had all the momentum, all the speed. He just wasn't there points-wise. The race for a championship at the end of last season. Could he get himself back to victory lane just 3 races away from that Homestead finish as he wants to grab his first win of season 11. But John Forbes, he wants his first win of being a champion. He grabbed the championship. Now he wants to get back to victory lane and show that the championship curse of having that number 1 does not exist. That this number 1 machine of John Forbes is just going to be a driver that builds on his momentum after his championship last season. Richard is looking great between the two teammates from Nightmare Fuel, but I'm looking at Drew Jua and Gavin Rogers. They continue to fight back and forth, and they're losing time compared to our 2 leaders that are fighting back and forth and pulling away.
Yeah, Gavin is trying to get this pass done on Drew Jua. The problem is, and it looks like he finally will clear it for 3rd. Hopefully that gives him some fresh air to get behind those leaders. Gavin Rogers, he kept trying to get the run down the straightaways and make the pass on the inside of Drew Jua, but could not complete it. But we just watched him there, was able to finally complete that pass, and now he's got his optimal line to gain speed. We'll see, got a little bit loose there, got into the wall, but Gavin Rogers, he has now got his sights set on those 2 up front, the Nightmare Fuels of Vincent Sora and John Forbes, who again are side by side as well as teammates. So this is what Gavin wants to see as he's starting to close that gap between those 2 drivers.
Will overtime be used? It has not been used in the past, but it could be calling for some of these drivers here tonight. A little bit of shake-up going back in 10th position as Cosman has just been bounced around, looking like a pinball at times. He continues to keep it straight, but the battle for the lead, it's still the 1 of Forbes. It's still Vincent Sora in the 1. Loving the fact that he's got a teammate and a friend around him and will race them as respectfully as possible. But Gavin Rogers being right there for 2nd place, this is wide open for the 75 with all the battling, all the pushes. If he can get just 1 lap, 1 good pass by this 51 machine, and he has just 2 to 3 laps to work with, Gavin's is having a chance to win. It's not over.
No, it's definitely not over. Gavin has got a lot of speed, especially off the exits, but he's got to time that run right to get that pass complete in the turns. But time is running out. He has got to find something. He's got to find a different line, got to get that run to get around the 51 so he has a chance at John Forbes. But right now, John Forbes is looking pretty, looking clean to take this win as long as he makes no mistakes. Vincent Sora is starting to lose a little ground on him. This could just be to keep Gavin behind him. Gavin going to look low. He's going to try to make the pass on Vincent Sora for 2nd place.
Here we go.
Going down, he needs to make the pass now. If he waits for an extra lap, it could be over on trying to run down Forbes. And Vincent Sora, huge pinch off the exit, but it hurts him off the exit of the corner on him, getting close to that outside wall. But Rogers had 0 momentum. That was a perfect defensive move by the 51, but it takes away any chance to run down John Forbes that's looking for the flag stand. So going through turns, the 3 and 4, open for no yellow. He looks up to the flag stand. There's the white flag waving for the 1 machine of John Forbes as he goes down into turn number 1.
Vincent Sora did a great job, pinched Gavin Rogers on the exit of the turn, not allowing him to get a good exit, but it's not going to give him a chance to win this race. Gavin Rogers has 1 more chance to look at Vincent Sora. He's going to go low into the turn to turn 3 and 4. Looks like John Forbes coming out of the turn. He will win tonight at Dover, but the challenge for 2nd is still there.
Well, I got stage points in 7th, so that's a lot better than the last few weeks where I got wrecked out. So
will be 3rd.
We'll take it.
That's the 1 of John Forbes finds himself with the victory. He was given the chance, given the option. You could have stuck with the number 11.
Especially being out of track and not good at it.
Last season,
he said, I'll take the challenge. I'm the former champ. I'll take that number 1 for this season 11. And he gets his first win. 3 races in for John Forbes. Congratulations.